Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at Z107.7 FM.com. Here is the Z107.7 Local News for Thursday, October 2nd, 2025. A man was arrested after allegedly driving a car backwards and into a woman in 29 Palms. Early Wednesday at around 4 a.m., San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies responded to a report of an assault with deadly weapon in the 5900 block of Aztec Avenue in 29 Palms. Deputies said that the suspect, Dominic Garcia, 26, was arguing with his girlfriend at the home. Witnesses at the scene said that after the argument, Garcia began driving a vehicle in reverse with the doors open. A witness said that one of the doors struck the victim, knocking her to the ground. Deputies said the victim sustained injuries to her face, wrist, and elbow, but she did not request medical treatment. Deputies contacted Garcia a few hours later in the 6600 block of Mariposa Avenue, where he was taken into custody. Dominic Garcia was arrested on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon and is being held at the West Valley Detention Center on $40,000 bail. The shutdown of the federal government and its agencies continues for its second day with no end in sight. Online news editor Robert Hayden has the latest on how the shutdown is impacting Joshua Tree National Park.
First up, here's what we know about how the federal government shutdown will affect Joshua Tree National Park. Employees, including Superintendent Jane Rogers, are being furloughed, but park gates will remain open. Fees will not be collected during the furlough. Donations to the park can be collected through the Joshua Tree National Park Association, who will be maintaining and staffing the 29 Palms Visitor Center and Joshua Tree Visitor Centers. Law enforcement will remain, and employee visitor safety and resource protection remain priorities. The public may continue to access portions of the park that would normally be open at night, but any area requiring a federal employee will remain closed. We'll continue to report on this story as more information becomes available as the government starts up its shutdown procedures this morning. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.
Thank you, Robert. President Donald Trump and head of the Office of Management and Budget Russell Vought have indicated that furloughed workers may be fired in the next few days if the federal government remains unfunded. Stay tuned to Z107.7 for updates. Yucca Valley's annual townwide crack, slurry, and Cape Seal project continues with road closures this week. The annual maintenance effort is a part of the town's overall pavement maintenance program with the long-term goal to keep the roads from deteriorating. Road closures for today include Joshua View Drive from Onaga Trail to Navajo Trail from Joshua View Drive to Valley Vista Avenue, Joshua View Drive from Yucca Trail to Pueblo Trail, and Dumosa Avenue from Yucca Trail to Pueblo Trail. During construction operations, detours will be provided for alternative routes. On Friday's episode of the Z107.7 Up Close show, host Gary Daigneault spoke with San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors Chair and our local representative Dawn Rao, along with her field representative Glenn Harris. After recent mudslides in mountainous areas of San Bernardino County, Daigneault and Rao discussed the more desert-focused issue of property drainage. The Morongo Basin was hit once again with a heavy downpour just Saturday.
I think people need to understand if you build a home on a property, it's not necessarily the county's responsibility to make sure your drainage works. You've pretty much got to do that yourself.
Well, that's a tricky one.
Yeah.
So, in theory, when you get the permit from Building and Safety to build a house in any jurisdiction, they take into consideration
Drainage.
Yeah,
that's one of the things on the checklist.
When I built my house, I had to dig out, and I had to have a receiving pond or a retention pond. Retention pond, and that goes into it. They calculate the flow. Somebody smarter than I am figures out the size of the lot, the pitch of the lot, and they say, okay, it needs to be this deep and this wide, and I have to have that dug out every so often. So you're responsible for the water that comes off your lot, and if you change the downhill flow, you are personally liable.
So if you change it,
well, yeah, you don't want to wipe my neighbor out by changing the flows.
Yeah.
But yes.
But people misunderstand that.
That's correct.
They think, I've got water coming on my property. Who do I call?
Yeah. You call the person that's going to come out with the backhoe and dig your retention pond deeper.
Yeah. You can hear their full conversation by listening to the Z107.7 Up Close show as a podcast at our website, Z107.7FM.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. The annual Morongo Basin Orchid Festival is returning to Goobler Orchids and Landers for the 30th year this weekend. On tomorrow's Z107.7 Up Close show, organizer Chris Goobler will talk about the remarkable history of the event, which coincides with the 50th anniversary of the Landers-based Orchid Nurseries. Sponsored by the Yucca Valley Sunset Rotary Club, the festival provides significant funding to local nonprofit organizations. Joshua Tree Brewery donates 100% of the proceeds from custom beers brewed for the event. While the main feature is the Orchid Show and judged competition, the event will host booths, entertainment, a beer garden, and a load of community pride. Hear all about the festival tomorrow at 10 a.m. on the Z107.7 Up Close show with Gary Daigneault and Chris Goobler. The City of 29 Palms Parks and Recreation Department announced that registration is now open for their Legomation Science program, a hands-on and robotics engineering class designed for children ages 5 to 10. This 4-week program will have young participants step into the role of mechanical engineers. They'll learn the foundations of engineering, robotics, and coding. Working with a partner and using a computer, each child will build their own motorized robot. And this is a make-and-take program, so everyone will take home their own Lego creation at the conclusion of the session. The program begins on November 8th and runs Saturdays through December. The cost is $20 per class, $80 for the full program. You can sign up at a link in this story at z1077fm.com. And finally, the 29 Palms High School varsity tennis team hosted the Trojans of Yucca Valley High School on Tuesday. The Wildcats won 12-6. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. If you hear about news happening, let us know. Email us at tips@z1077fm.com. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm News Director Jeff Harmatz.